Yesterday, CBS Sports radio analyst Brandon Tierney put out some interesting tweets, and Kevin Durant set Twitter on fire in response to them. Here's what it started. Tierney had this to say: the Nets win 7 straight, no one cares. Nets lose 7 straight, no one cares. Speaks volumes. That was Brandon Tierney's opinion. Kevin Durant responded. He just wrote back, "What does it say?" They continued to exchange tweets. I'm going to read you just pieces of what was a lengthy exchange. BT tweeted, "Nothing but respect for your game, but the reality is simple. The Mecca had your name all over it, and you passed up the shot. I'm from Brooklyn. It's in my blood. But NYC is all about the Knicks and always will be. At least Carmelo Anthony got in the batter's box and took a swing." KD responded to that, saying, "You're going to watch anyway. Doesn't matter." Then he tweeted, "The reality is that you wanted me to do what you wanted me to do. I didn't, and now you feel some weird way about it. Get over yourself, bro. I know you got a little platform, but come out of the clouds. It's not real." What then happens, of course, is that a bunch of other people just get involved in this conversation. One fan said the Nets are irrelevant, KD, and for reasons known only to him, Kevin Durant responded, saying being relevant in the eyes of fans doesn't make the ball go in the basket, so it really doesn't matter, but go ahead and claim something. What we have just seen are 4 of the 25 tweets that Kevin Durant sent out last night responding to Twitter users. So that's sort of the basis of it here. Jalen, I'll give it to you first. I have strong thoughts on this, but we'll get to those. What do you make of this whole thing?
So social media can be used to your benefit or your detriment. When you're somebody like Kevin Durant, you have 2 choices, especially when you're not playing this year: to engage in the noise or ignore the noise. He's always seemed to be somebody that wants to defend his reputation on Twitter. And based on that, I have no problems with it. But he's also been the kind of person that would create a burner account because he seems sensitive to the things that were being said about him on Twitter. So for me, I'm not mad at what Brandon said because that's a fact. We did praise the Nets culture when they were doing well. They seem to be a team that had the most fun in the league last year. They get eliminated in the first round. They're not having as much fun this year. They are struggling, yet it isn't a headline in New York. It isn't leading our show. They're not going to fire their coach, but if it was the Knicks, we would be discussing all of those things.
Jay, let me hear from you.
I have all the respect in the world for Brandon Tierney. We're not talking about Brandon Tierney unless Kevin Durant responds, right? So, look, the Nets are relevant because we still are talking about the Nets. They may not be relevant in the way that we thought they're going to be relevant, but also Kyrie and Kevin Durant have not played that much this year. They will be relevant next year when both those guys play. We'll be talking about them every single day. But here, this is who Kevin Durant is, guys. He's the same guy at the Christmas party comes up to me and starts arguing with me because he disagrees with what I said on the air. Like, I can't tell you how many debates we have on Twitter and in person all the time about basketball. So the fact is, everything that he said on social media were facts. You may not like the fact that he engages back and forth, but there's a lot of still time for Kevin Durant right now. And this is the way he stays engaged emotionally because he wants to compete.
So, guys, Kevin Durant is 31 years old, which I believe that this generation, and I'm 31, we got Acho over there who's around that age, he's a little younger than me, but Twitter is such a part of our lives. I mean, it's something that, you know, social media is kind of what fuels conversations for this generation of people, and I think KD is squarely in that. And what I would say is I don't know that he's happy about doing this, Greeny, but I think he wants that interaction because it fuels him in a way. He wants to be on the court, he wants the criticism, he wants to battle back with people because that's how, you know, this age group communicates in a way.
Perhaps. Let me ask you to go back to the first thing you said. The first thing you said was you have 2 options. One of my favorite things you ever said to me is that people come into your life for 4 different reasons. What are they?
To add, subtract, multiply, or divide.
Which ones of those
Choose wisely.
Which ones of those should you water? If those are 4 gardens, which ones of those should you water?
I'm taking all of the calls that people that want to add to the bank account, that want to multiply the shows. I'm ignoring anybody that want to subtract or divide.
Listen, I understand that I'm not a member of that generation. And as someone once, a very smart person once said to me in a presentation that I saw, my generation, we are technology immigrants. We weren't born here. We didn't learn about this when we were kids growing up in it. So I understand that this is not something that we're native to. But I will say this, that you do learn some things over the course of your life. And interacting with people who in no way have your best interest in heart. And I'm not talking about BT, by the way. I know Brandon Tierney, he's a smart guy. He's entitled to his opinion. And whatever his opinion is, it's fine. He puts it out there. That's what he does for a living. But there is zero reason and zero benefit, I don't care what anyone says, to Kevin Durant interacting with people whom he will never see, will never hear from, and who by no means have his best interest at heart. And there is nothing anyone is ever going to tell me that is going to convince me otherwise.
Who cares?
I think he cares.
Yeah, but who cares? This is who Kevin Durant has always been. It's always been. And it's fine to sit up here and say there's nothing to your benefit to respond.
You don't think this diminishes him in any way?
You don't know that's not to his benefit.
Kevin Durant is a 31-year-old guy worth $500 million who has all the business interests in the world in one of the great. I don't think this drives him.
I think you're wrong.
I think that drives him. Responding to random people on Twitter is the reason he's so great.
You know why? Because as an elite athlete, I have to find other ways that motivate me. I have to find things that you may not understand because you may not be in the same position as Kevin Durant, but I need to find things that motivate me. Something that motivates me may not be something that motivates you, but it motivates me.
Jalen, you're closer in age to me. What do you make of that?
I just think that you don't have anything to gain by beefing down. And that's to your point. If Kevin seems to be going at a peer or in a level of competition or it seems to have an end game, it kind of matters. But Jay,
isn't this always what fans have wanted, though, Jalen? Isn't this what social media was built for? To hear the real live streaming thoughts of what individuals think that you never had a chance to interact with and engage with them for who they really. This is who Kevin Durant really is. But he engages back and forth with people.
Correct. By the way, I've had my phases on social media where I used to respond to people who gave negative criticism, and then I realized that it didn't matter, and then I would ignore them. So I understand what you're saying, Jay. But here's my line of demarcation. He has shown us that he can be bothered by things that happen on social media, and they can really get under his skin to the point where he would create a burner account to talk about his former team, his former coach.
He addressed that on our show. I have to ask you a question. In his evolution.
I have to ask a question because you know him better than anybody at this table. Was one of the reasons that he came back last year and played when he shouldn't have the fact that he was hearing all of this criticism out there? He's not tough enough. He doesn't want to play for his team. That all the stuff that happened when he came to Golden State and people called it a weak move. Is that one of the reasons he came back and played when in his heart of hearts he probably knew he should?
To say it wasn't a factor, I would be remiss not to say that. I think it was slightly a factor, but I also think it was a fact that Kevin wants to compete. He's also he wants to be that player that he knows he is. He's a dog. That's how he looks at it. Same way LeBron would want to come back and compete. But all I'm saying, and back to your point real quick, J. Rose, is that I hear you, but there's been an evolution for Kevin. I watched him from the burner account to where he is now, and he's willing to engage. I like the fact that he's engaging because it shows the fact that things still piss him off, and he's going to bring that venom back into next year. This is who he is, guys. Regardless of whether you like it or not, you're getting a front row seat to a Showtime event.
So let me make one other thing. Let's just put this on the table. Are we acknowledging that the Knicks would it be acknowledged different if they're struggling than when the Nets are?
Of course.
And why is that?
Because the Knicks are a historical franchise with all the tradition and history, although most of it lately has been bad.
That's only here in New York, my man. You don't hear other states or other media outlets talk about
what will happen next year. Right now, Bobby Marks, hold on one second, Mark, I'm sorry, but I have to. Bobby Marks yesterday got into this mess or just chimed in and said, the Nets are playing $50 million worth of talent, and they have $70 million on the bench. When those two guys come back healthy next year, if they are the best team in the Eastern Conference, which they might be, will they take over the town?
They're going to be eye to eye with the Milwaukee Bucks as the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Will they take over the town? Will they become relevant in the way that
they will definitely be must-see TV. But Jay, the Clippers and the Nets ain't in the position to take over the town yet. They're going to have to win the championship.
If the Lakers did not have LeBron James, we would be talking about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George every single day.
How about this?
That would be the case for the Nets, Jalen
The Nets and the Knicks aren't even a rivalry.
Okay, well, so now we've gotten we'll leave it there.
You know what?
I'll leave it there.
ESPN countdown.
You hear the voice of Stanford Steve. He's down there in New Orleans. He'll be back this week. Kyrie back for the Nets. Missed 26 games. Shoulder issues. Hadn't played since mid-November. Trae Young for the Hawks out with a hamstring injury. Kyrie, early on, not scoring but facilitating. Garrett Allen down low. None but an Irving. This time, left hand off glass. Nets happy to see him back. Irving probes the defense, then buries the three. And it's an early big lead. They continue to lead by a bunch. Those handles, not rusty at all. DeAndre Hunter, the rookie, getting a good look at Kyrie. Theo Pinson on the bench, giving everybody the what for. Vince Carter back in Brooklyn, final game, and a standing ovation. Let him know, old fella. Backs down Spencer Dinwiddie, the crowd showing their appreciation and love. Vince won't continue to do it forever. Nets are just happy to see this guy back. And what a game from Kyrie. Great look at this off the very top of the glass. And what an incredibly efficient night for Kyrie. Good pass in the paint. Pretty high degree of difficulty shot that's challenged. 10 of 11 in 20 minutes. Afterwards, he talked about the difficulty in getting back on the floor.
I'm trying to make up these words of how I make sense of it, but it was kind of a long road back, man. Just a lot of questions that I had to answer. Just health with my shoulder, longevity, what would have been the best option, you know, for my health and long term. So once I kind of got that foundation set, it was easier to make that decision to come back when I did.
Kyrie got a jersey from Vince on the way out, and I mentioned 10 of 11, 91%. That's the highest clip in any of his 520 career NBA games. All this comes